Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We are on episode 45 to 47 of season 3 of Ace of the Diamond, Act 2. So, the last 2 episodes was pretty wonderful, not gonna lie. It's been a solid week since I've recorded those episodes. I've just been busy catching up with other things and doing some things, but I am ready. And I'll be honest, I've taken my time and taken a full week to get back to this next set because I realize there's only 3 sets left. It's this and the next 2, and I'm not ready for the anime to end. I'm not. It's been a solid year of watching Ace of the Diamond every week. I'm not ready for it to end. I don't like it. So, this next coming weekend, I'm actually going to my very first professional baseball game. I'm really excited. My best friend, I've convinced her to go with me. I'm like, please come with me. I've already warned her that I'm going to have my journal with me. I'm making a jersey for it. I will make a video to talk about my experience and have it on Patreon and YouTube to go over whatever that's like. It's supposed to be like 96 degrees and like an 80% chance of rain. I'm hoping that changes between now and next weekend, but we'll see. So I'll let you guys know what ends up happening about that, but I'm really excited because this series has made me go from someone that not only had zero interest in baseball, but never even cared to even see a game, to being extremely excited to see a Major League MLB game. I can't believe how this anime has like turned things around on my views of baseball, but it has. And thank you, Ace of the Diamond. So also, while I've been prepping this week, I have read a little bit more of the manga. I'm still on Act 1 of the Ace of the Diamond manga, and I'm only at Volume 8. And I've realized, Zero Anti-Zero was saying in the Discord the other day, they were like, so, if you're trying to catch up in the next 3 weeks, you'll just have to read 25 volumes a week to do that. And I was like, and they're like, it's just 3.5 volumes a day. And I was like, so, I don't think I will have caught up with the manga by the time that I start reading the manga that starts where the anime ends. So I've been told it is in volume 19 of Act 2. It's chapter 169 is where to go to. So we'll have this week episodes 45 through 47. Next week will be episodes 48 through 50. And then the following week will be episodes 51 and 52. And then I will finish reading all of volume 19, starting with chapter 169, and then week to week we'll do volume to volume from there. Because as somebody in the comments noted, each volume is essentially 9 chapters and is kind of like watching a 3-episode set anyway. So I'm like, works out great, yay! So that's what we're gonna do, but I'm not ready for it, but we can't stop, so it's just gonna have to be that way. But anyway, so we've gotten the summer tournament, the lottery's been drawn. We know that old Seido, they're in the same block as Katioka's, his former mentor's team, and so they may have to face them. Yakushi is in with Ichidai third. Of course, Inashiro's like the number 1 spot. Why are we surprised? And so I'm very curious. We only have 8 episodes left. So are they gonna tell us who the ace is by the time this season ends, or what are we gonna do? I don't know, but I'm really excited to see what happens this episode, and I hope you all are too. So let's not waste any more time. It's been a solid week. I've got my pen and paper ready. I am set to go. I poured myself some tea. I'm like, you better believe it. I'm ready. So we're going to start Ace of the Diamond, episode 45 of Act 2, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Our boy did it! He did it. He's the ace. But man, Terajima, the mangaka's like, oh, well, he's the ace now, but things aren't going to be easy. No, sir. The ace position comes with a whole new set of pressures, and our boy is getting a taste of it right off the bat. Terajima, he will not let us go without suffering. We've seen Sawamura do really great, but he didn't have that ace pressure, and now him and Furuya, now he's going to experience what Furuya experienced. But I have some things I want to comment about it, because I think that it's going to be helpful for Sawamura in the long run. But oh my god, I didn't cry. I thought about this the other day. I was like, if Sawamura becomes the ace, I'm like, I don't usually get emotional about stuff. I don't get, like, I'm not a happy crier. I'm not really much of a crier at all when I watch anything. It takes something very, very sad to trigger me in the right way to cry, but it has to be something sad. Like, I'm not a happy crier. I'm not like tears of joy. That's just not me. I usually in moments like this, I'm too hyped up on adrenaline, and I'm like, nope, too hyped up. But I'll be honest, when we saw that little text message from Chris, that about got me. That about got me, because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it this soon. I was thinking if Sawamura became the ace, maybe like in the finals, Chris would show up and it'd be this big dramatic thing, and I'd be like, But no, he texted him. Oh my god. So I'm like, Sawamura, please don't implode. We've spent this long with you, dear sweet boy. I don't want you to suffer anymore. But it's realistic, right? I do appreciate that Terajima wasn't like, okay, he's the ace, now he's OP and unstoppable. You know, we've talked about Haikyuu in this series, and there's manga spoilers for the next 30 seconds. So Haikyuu manga spoilers for like it'll be up here in the corner. When this is gone, you'll know there's no more Haikyuu spoilers. But that is the one thing, is Hinata in Haikyuu, once he comes back from Brazil and he's done all his training in Brazil on beach volleyball, he instantly transitions into indoor volleyball, and he's amazing. He's like OP unstoppable. And while it feels good, and the manga does justify it in a lot of ways, there isn't really that transition period of, man, would you have some pressure coming back on your home turf? After watching this show, I'm like, wow, rewatching and rethinking about Haikyuu, I'm like, man, you'd think Hinata would have some pressure going back home on his home court. He'd have some like nerves and stuff, but instead he's like Buddhist level Zen, like Zen level 5,000. I'm ready to go. And he's like OP and he just seamlessly transitions to being a god of volleyball. In this, it is much more realistic that Sawamura becoming the ace, having that pressure, finally getting to the goal he's always wanted. There's a pressure to that. And I love that Tirajima's like, this isn't going to be easy. Just because he's gotten the ace number doesn't mean it's smooth sailing. Now he has to go through what Furuya went through and deal with that pressure. And it's going to be, and Sawamura has shown us time and time again since season 1 that when he starts something new, it's rocky at first. But Sawamura, as Miyuki says, defies expectations, and he somehow usually pulls it off. Now, I don't know when we get to the later games how that's going to work. I don't know, but so yeah, we need to talk about these episodes though. I was on cloud 9 for a lot of them. I was just elated. My head was like lighter than air. I was like, this is amazing. So go Exceed. Episode 45 being named after the OP. Man, what a thing, right? They had us, they faked us out for a while. I was like, are we not getting an OP? Is that just not happening? Is this, usually they have like credits at the beginning if they're not gonna have an OP for something. I was like, when's it gonna air? It was like 12 minutes into the episode. And then it was a special OP that was just highlighting all of Sawamura's struggles and then him becoming the ace. I was like, oh my god, of course. Of course. So we start out June 23rd, and we have Miyuki focusing on the batter for their practice game against Kokono. We don't get a lot with Kokono. We kind of just breeze through Kokono. It was built up to be this big game, but they really don't show us a lot of Kokono. It was just like a one episode, yeah, we're just going to breeze through it. It's fine. You don't care about that anyway, right? But Miyuki talking about focusing on the batter, he's like, you're getting greedy. And Sawamura's like, am I? Like the Sawamura's like, am I getting greedy? He's like, I want to pitch all game. I feel like Sawamura in that moment, he wants to make sure that he can have the stamina and prove to Kateoka that he can be able to handle the full game. So he wants to pitch the full game. But I love his little blush where he's like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm just getting greedy. I don't know. Like, it was really cute. And then Furuya in these episodes was a damn cinnamon bun when he was like, nice pitch. And I thought in episode 47, I'm waiting for Furuya to cheer Sawamura on, which he kind of does. He calls him by the first. I love that. We'll get to episode 47 and the whole first name thing we've been talking about in the Discord for like weeks. But yeah, I love that Furuya's like, nice pitch. Like, he's so supportive, right? Because again, the rivalry between Sawamura and Furuya has become the most wholesome, beautiful thing. Like, they support each other. Neither of them want to lose. They both want to become the ace, but they've come so far in their friendship, and they really are friends, and they really do care for each other. And I'm just waiting now. If Furuya ever like says "Go Sawamura" and like yells it out loud, I will lose my shit because I'm like, I thought it was gonna happen in episode 47. I was like, is it about to happen? And Furuya did go out there, but it was as a messenger. He didn't yell anything. I was like, I'm waiting for it, and I will freaking lose my mind. But yeah, Koshu seeing the battery of Miyuki and Sawamura, and Koshu being like, oh, this is what Sawamura is talking about. Like Koshu being like inspired and being like, okay, this is how this battery is. Okay. Which Koshu and Sawamura make a much different battery than Miyuki and Sawamura, right? And we've talked about that in previous episodes. But Sawamura, like him walking through the hallway in the school and everything and being focused, that's a Sawamura I love. Is the focused, hardcore Sawamura. We'll talk about episode 47. I was starting to get flashbacks. I was like, if you get a damn bag under your eye, I'm going to throw this glass of tea out the window. Right? But Koshu's really hard on himself in these episodes, because I don't think he didn't measure up to his expectations. But I love that Ono eases his mind. Ono's like, hey, it's okay. He's like, hey, I've been sitting on the bench for 2 years. I know it's like, which is kind of sad because Ono is such a good player and he's great. It's just Miyuki's like pro level at this point, right? Miyuki's just really, really good. And Ono knows it. But I like Ono. Again, Ono is very much like Sugawara from Haikyuu, where he's got all this experience from the sidelines. He knows how to help other players feel more at ease because he understands what they're going through. And he's like, hey, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're thinking. Like, listen, this is what I've noticed. If you go from the side, you can see things from this perspective. And I love that Ono does that. It's great. And then Koshu with his little bow being like, thank you. Like, just, he's so polite. Koshu's so freaking polite. Then we have the discussion about Ochiai and Katioka. And we'll tie back around to it. But Ochiai being like, he thinks it would be a disservice to Furuya to take the ace number away, and he thinks that Furuya will react negatively to it, and that the team would question it, would bring down team morale, and that he makes the comment that Sawamura grows better in the face of adversity. Maybe. I don't think Ochiai is wrong in saying that. I think that's very true. Sawamura has grown exponentially because of him not being ace. However, I don't think that Furuya would not grow under the same circumstances. I think that's been the whole rivalry, is that they push each other forward, and Furuya getting stagnant and being complacent doesn't allow him room to grow. So I think making Sawamura the ace is going to make Furuya step up his game. And he did step up his game. Like in these 2 episodes that followed, like morally and supportively, he has stepped up his game. Because now it's going to make Furuya have to grow in the face of adversity. And so I was like, okay. And we'll talk about Sanada. We'll talk about Sanada and Mei having 2 very different viewpoints of Furuya. And so we'll talk about Sanada and Mei when we get to episode 46. But when we get to that episode, we'll talk about the 2 of them because they have very different views of Furuya for different reasons, and we'll talk about them. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Ochiai that yes, Sawamura has grown in the face of adversity, but the same could be said of Furuya as well, right? And so I will talk more about that later, but we find out there's 12 days before the tournament, and Ochiai wants Katioka to give the ace number to Furuya. To give it to him because he's been... And Ochiai is not wrong. He has been improving. Furuya has been getting better all the time. And in my head, me as a Sawamura fangirl, I'm like, let our boy get the ace number. But then I'm like, Ochiai is not totally wrong. You know, he is... We'll talk more about it when we get... Because there's a moment where he says something that I'm like, we'll touch base on that. So we have the managers. I thought the one manager whose name is Umamoto... I thought she was holding a little number 6 jersey, thinking it was Kawakami, but Kawakami's number 10. It was Kuramochi's. But I always feel like Umamoto and Nori would be a cute couple. They both have like little round faces, and they both seem to like each other. I think they'd be a cute couple. And then Haruno has the little ace number jersey that Sawamura makes his phone profile picture. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's really cute. If I were to ship Sawamura with a girl, it would be Haruno. I like that. I like them as a couple a lot. So we have Koshu and Masashi have to make up work for their tests. Of course, I'm not surprised about Masashi. I'm not. But Koshu, he got the numbers wrong because all he was thinking about was baseball. And then we have July 5th at the Jingu Stadium. The tournament begins. And Katioka saying, I'm going to shake things up, being like, we'll make the team continue to grow by switching up the numbers. Being like, Sawamura led our team through Furuya's injury, but it wasn't Sawamura and Furuya alone. It was the team. We've not met our goal yet. Now is not the time to get complacent. It's so funny. We'll talk about this with episode 46, but it's so funny how the tides have turned between Katioka and Ochiai. We'll talk about that. But I wrote in giant letters, our boy is ace, because I think I might have freaked out. I might have blacked out and freaked out when Sawamura was going to be the ace. Finally. Took us 3 seasons, like nearly 200 episodes. I don't know how many volumes of the manga, like what, 40 or 50 volumes of the manga? But our boys made it. And it's not going to be easy from here. The pressure's going to mount. It's going to be hard. It's like Terujima's like, oh, you think that things are going to get better now that he's the ace? Ha ha ha! No! Now we have a whole new set of challenges. Awesome. But I do love that when Furuya gets number 11, and we'll talk about that later with episode 46. But Furuya getting number 11, the manager makes note. He's like, it's like you have 2 number 1s. So you have twice as many expectations. So it's like, yeah, Furuya, you've got to build back up, but now you have to play support and you have to build back up. So you're going to have just as much work to do, if not more, to get back to that ace position. And I like that. I like that a lot. So we go there where Ochiai was like, my strategy in keeping Furuya as the ace was to avoid risks, to make it as far as we could. And Katioka's no pain, no gain strategy, it's so the opposite of last year, because last year Katioka was wanting to play it safe and keep with the strategy they've been doing in the past, and Ochiai was wanting to take the big risk by focusing on Furuya and building him up like Mei. So it's funny to see how the tides have turned and how Ochiai went from doing this bold strategy, again in service of Furuya, to avoid taking risks in service of Furuya. And Katioka's like, no. So that does further my belief that Katioka, he does have faith in Sawamura and wants to reward him for all of the hard work that he's done. But it's also a test being like, okay, Sawamura, you wanted this ace number. I'm going to give it to you. What are you going to do about it? It's like, God. And there's so much pressure because this is Miyuki's last year. We're only in round 1. And there's more tension than I think there's been in like the semifinals of the fall tournament. We're like in round 1 of the qualifiers, and there's just as much tension as the damn semifinal of the fall tournament. What are you doing, Terajima? Why are you doing this to us? Why? But, oh my God. So we go there, and so anyway, Umamoto, I love that Katioka gives the jersey to the managers. I thought that was really cute that the jerseys, they did it last year, but it was cute that Umamoto and the other girl got the jerseys. And then, so Sawamura, the pressure as an ace and Furuya getting a chance to grow. And I like Miyuki said, you know, Furuya's been on this journey as the ace. Now it's your turn, Sawamura. I like that both Sawamura and Furuya are getting chances to become the ace and go forward with that. And so who knows what third year will bring? Who knows if either of them will be the ace? Who knows what will happen in their third year? But I like that. I like that Miyuki's like, now you're going to experience the same thing he did and see how much pressure there is. It's like, okay. And so I like that Furuya talks about how number 11 was his number this first year. And I like that he's honest with Haruichi. Like, again, I love Furuya in this set of episodes. Furuya's pretty humble. He's like, yeah, I'm disappointed, but my goal, he's like, doesn't matter what I think. My goal is that we have to help the team. He's like, so I'm going to pitch my best and do the best I can to make sure I can keep pitching. And I'm proud of Furuya. I'm honestly really proud of him. The mentality he has and how him and Sawamura doesn't rub it in his face. That's the thing. That's such a beautiful thing about this rivalry in these episodes. Sawamura does not rub it in Furuya's face that he's the ace. And Furuya does not get heartbrokenly disappointed. He's just like, okay, it's almost like Furuya expected it, but he's still like, damn, okay, now I got to work my way back up. And so we cut back to the tournament starting and the end of episode 45. Raichi and Mei, even though Mei does not like Raichi Raichi and Mei have the same restless energy. They're both so impatient. Mei's like, let's hurry up, let's get this started. And Itsuki's like, Mei, be quiet. And then you have Raichi, who's just like a little like spider monkey, like wanting to go everywhere. And it's just like Raichi just is so hyper focused. Like they're both like so restless. I love they have a similar energy. And then Koshu and Furuya about to pass out. We were talking in the Discord yesterday about which Ace of the Diamond characters would tan, oddly enough. And we came to the conclusion that Furuya's porcelain skin is not tanning. He's going to get lobsterfied. And I think it's safe to say now that Koshu's not tanning. He's going to get lobsterfied too. Furuya and Koshu not being able to handle the heat. That's the other thing too, is that Furuya, we haven't seen him in this summer heat season like we have in the past, right? It's been a solid year. So it's going to be interesting going into second year to see how much Furuya's stamina has changed since last year. Because last year it was like a little bit of a heat stroke and he was out. So we'll see on that. But God, episode 46. Episode 46, encouragement. I was so hyped up for episode 45. And the OP that was Sawamura centered was beautiful. But I'm going to be honest, episode 46, I was on freaking cloud 9. That episode is so damn good. So we go back and we get the recap. And Katioka's like, we're not at our goal yet. This is not the time to get stagnant. We need to keep moving and keep going forward. And it's like Sawamura getting the ace number. You wonder how he was all going to be. How far our boy has come. How much he's grown. First season, those first couple episodes, Sawamura's like, I'm going to be the ace king, the ace, blah. And here, he's shaking. He's so humbled. He's like, okay, I did it. Like, he almost looks like he's about to cry at one point. Like, it's almost like when you meet, if you are into a certain celebrity and then you finally meet them and you're like, oh, I'll have all these things to say. And then when it finally happens, you're like, hey, it's great. I hope you did great. You're a really good person. like, you just don't know what to say. I feel like that's how Sawamura was. He was like, I just, okay. And Katsuya was like, don't you want it? He's like, yes. He's just so overwhelmed, right? And Furuya's he's like, congratulations. I was like, I can't. I was like, I couldn't. Furuya, you sweet, sweet man. When he said congratulations, like that takes a bold set of balls to like lose your ace number and say congratulations to your rival. That is like so much respect for Furuya. I'm so proud of him and Sawamura and how they treat each other in spite of all this. I didn't know what would go down and what would happen, but Sawamura is better than mocking Furuya, and Furuya is better than being upset or petty over it. Oh man. And Miyuki saying this is just the beginning. So it's like we started all over again. You just got comfortable to Sawamura being at the top of his game. Well, that's because there wasn't the pressure of being the ace. And now we're back to square one. No! I don't want to see any bags under the eyes. Those have haunted me. I'm traumatized from season 1. Season 2, I am traumatized. Don't need to see it again. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But then my fan fiction dreams came true. We went to the stadium and we saw Shunshin, and Miyuki like shook his hand and they were like, hey bestie. And Miyuki's like, I got to form a battery with him. He's awesome. He's amazing. And they're like, his Japanese is really good. And they're like, it sucks he can't play. And I'm like, I'm with you, right? And then the most manic chaos occurred. It was one thing for Raichi to be like all around Summer being like, hey, you're number 1 now. Hey, what's up? Does that mean you got better? Like, just, Raichi's like, does that mean you got better? You're gonna pitch a better ball? What's it mean? Like, he's so excited. And I was having like a euphoria moment alone with Sawamura and Raichi hanging out. But then Kosei shows up. And he's like, you're number 1 now, bestie. And everybody's like, he's friends with him. And I love that Haruichi's like, this is news to me. Like, when did this happen? And, okay, 1, Raichi doesn't have a cell phone. Raizo Todoroki doesn't trust his son with a cell phone. Although I know that this is taking place in modern time, in the 2010s, and now it's commonplace for most people to have a phone. When I was growing up, when I was in high school, I did not get a phone until I was 16 because my parents were like, why do you need a phone if you can't drive anywhere? So I was like, oh yeah. They're like, where are you going that we won't be able to find you? So I didn't get a phone until I was 16. So I was like, maybe, but Raichi, he's a second year, so he should be 17. So, but yeah, Coach Todoroki, I wonder if it's less that Coach Todoroki doesn't trust him with the phone, or one, here's the thing, Raichi's super quiet and super shy. Like when Kosei's like, get online with us, and Raichi's like, get online with you? Like he's so innocent, and Raichi's like, I don't know. Like Raichi doesn't, he doesn't have the social skills to need a cell phone. Like, who would he text? What would he say? He's just going to walk to Sonata's house and hang out with him. Why does he need a phone? It's just like, oh my God, all his friends hang out with him at the baseball field. Why does he need a phone? So there's that. But also, the fact that Sawamura was added onto line with Kosei, that Kosei has his contact info and probably sends him messages, like all of the fan possibilities were just swarming across my brain, and I was like, I cannot handle this right now. I'm gonna go, when I'm done with this discussion, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go back and rewatch episode 46. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it, and I have not said that for any episode in this series. I've always watched these episodes, did my discussion, and then started editing, and then worked on other stuff. And maybe I've gone back and rewatched some episodes, but not like immediately afterwards. No, when this discussion is over, I'm going back and rewatching episode 46. I loved it that much, and I was freaking out. So there's that. But yeah, so no cell. So then we need to talk about Mei and Sanada. So Mei and Sanada. Sanada, I really like that. Here's the thing. Sanada and Mei both consider Furuya suffering an injury, or possibly Sanada thinks it's an injury. Sanada asks Furuya, here's my point. Sanada asks Furuya, he's like, hey, did you get injured? And Furuya's like, no, I'm fine. And Sanada's like, oh, okay. So Sanada, who has had an injury, can relate to Furuya. And so he, whether or not he knows Furuya had the injury or not, he can relate. And so he's like, hey, did you lose the ace number because of that? And Furuya's like, no, it wasn't because of that. And Sanada's like, okay, so Sawamura's gotten that much better, huh? Interesting. So I like Sanada. Sanada takes a more positive approach to it because Sanada's a positive ray of sunshine that's a hot model. So Sanada takes a very positive approach to it and thinks, okay, no, he's like, Furuya, you're really good, but now you're telling me that you're not the ace and you're still good, and now Sawamura's really good. Sanada's like, okay, let's do this. He's like, this is going to be exciting because you guys are clearly better, and so we're going to have to play you guys. That'll be fun. And I loved when Raichi went fourth round, semifinals. He was like, we're going to play Inashiro in the finals. I loved that. I love when he was like, we're going to play Ichidai third in the fourth round. We're going to play Seido in the semifinals. He's like, I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to beat you, and then I'm going to go beat Mei. I was like, Raichi. I was like, do it to it, honey. That was amazing. That was great. I loved that moment. So then we have Sanada taking the more positive approach and being like, oh, okay, so Furuya, you're not injured. You just got bumped down, and Sanada got placed in the ace position. Okay, cool. Then we're going to face you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like, Sanada's he's excited about it because he's like, yeah, this is going to be exciting. Then you have Mei. And I was waiting to see, when the episode started, I was like, I wanted to see what Kosei's reaction would be, Raichi's and Mei's, and I got all three. It was like, check, check, check. It's like Terajima just knew what I wanted and was like, here you go. And so I love that Mei takes the more negative approach to it. Mei, who has related to Furuya before back in the fall tournament, Mei saw Furuya starting to break down, and Mei was like, are you going to be able to get back up from it or not? And in Mei's mind, Mei takes the negative approach and says, oh, you couldn't overcome them. And that's why you're not the ace. And that's so interesting because it's not entirely true. Mei doesn't know about Furuya's injury. He doesn't know about it. And he doesn't quite know the situation. See, here's the difference. Sanada walked up to May and asked him and communicated, and then found out and was like, oh, okay, cool. We're good. But May is not like that. I don't think May would ever walk up to Furuya like Sanada did and ask him what's up. That's not May's style, right? I kept wanting to know what May thought of Sawamura being the ace, but May doesn't care about Sawamura. He just cares about Furuya. He's always cared. I've been rereading the manga, and the first words out of May's mouth was, where is Furuya? So all May has cared about on Seido has been Furuya. So it's going to be interesting to see how May responds to Sawamura. If they make it to them, it's going to be the finals if they make it to Inashiro. My fingers are crossed. I hope they do. I want them to, but I don't know. You know, this series makes you feel like, don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but I think that's in-game. I think Inashiro is in-game. It's just us getting there and all the trials and tribulations we have to suffer to get there along the way, right? And so the game is set for the 15th, so they got 10 days. And Sawamura is so worked up. He's like, I've got so much to work on. He's like, I'm not ready. He's like, I've got this pressure now. I've got to work on the numbers. I got to do all this and that. And I love that Nori is like, hey, calm down. It's going to be okay. I love that Nori, throughout episode 46 and 47, is a calming presence. Nori's like, no, you got this. It's okay. I love that. And Miyuki's like, hey, we're going to work on the numbers. Do you want to do that? And I love that Miyuki, he's like, okay, we'll work on the numbers. Free, let's work with you. And he's like, and Nori's like, hey, Miyuki, you want to work with me? And Miyuki is always, I'm rereading the manga now, and I'm only to volume 8, but you can already tell that Miyuki was never really close with Nori or Tamba. Not like he is with Furuya and Sawamura. It was clear that when Furuya and Sawamura got on the mound, there was a fire lit under Miyuki, and he's like, oh, these pitchers, they're gonna be bold and challenging, and I love it. But I don't feel like Miyuki just didn't like Tamba. They just did not get along. It's so clear when you reread the manga. You're like, wow, Tamba and Miyuki did not see eye to eye. They were not a good battery. They just didn't get along. And Miyuki's whole thing, they told Kuramochi, he's like, oh, I'll make anybody shine as the pitcher because that's my job and I'm damn good at it, even if people hate me for it or if I have to lie. He's like, I'll do it. And it's like, woof. But with Nori, he always seems like he's just complacent with Nori, and that's not really the way I want to phrase it, but he's never challenged by Nori. I guess Nori is such a solid, balanced pitcher that he doesn't ever really challenge Miyuki, and Miyuki's kind of like, it's fine. It's okay. So I like that when Nori's like, are you going to pitch with me? Catch with me? And Miyuki's like, well, yeah. And at that moment you realize, oh, Miyuki and Nori, they're third years. Along with Kuramochi and them, this is their last year. This is their last tournament. Now's the time. If you're going to do stuff, now's the time, right? And so I love that we had back in episode 45, when we were at the school, we had this moment where Zono and Asa were having an argument and a fight. They've been bantering back and forth, and during the dinner scene in episode 46 they do the same thing. But I love that Kanemaru's really been getting along well lately. It's Asa and Zono are about to kill each other. It was so funny. I loved that. And then Sawamura, he's like, I'm the ace. I don't want the third year's summer to end. That's the saddest thing. And I'm like, if he tells Nori and Miyuki that, it's going to be the saddest thing. He's like, I don't want your summers to end. I want to keep going with you all and keep playing. That's so sweet, right? And so then we get Sakaki, who's described as bloodthirsty. He is a force to be reckoned with. I love that his own players are like, this man's scary. Oh God. I mean, he's Katioka's mentor, so of course he is. Right? And so we have Sawamura and Nishino and Sawamura. Little girl Nishino. She's super sweet. And I love that Sawamura's so... I think Nishino's the one that shared the manga with him. Am I wrong? I think she's the one that back in season 2 shared the manga with him. And he was like, oh, thanks. I just love how Sawamura is so cordial and such a tourist sunshine boy. That he's like, hey, let's be friends. Here, let's just talk about this. He's not trying to flirt or anything with her or any of the other girls. He's just having a conversation. It's funny because you have Koshu in his class in the first years, and Koshu's all an enigma. His classmates think he's an enigma and untouchable and unapproachable. Whereas Sawamura, everybody's like, how you doing? He's like, it's the contrast is really interesting. Kelsey also brought up in the Discord that's really sad because Koshu doesn't have any of his teammates in class with him. He's kind of by himself. But I don't know. I feel like Koshu, maybe that's better for Koshu. He can kind of focus that way. Although it didn't help him with that math test because he wasn't paying attention. So who knows, right? But Kanemaru, poor Kanemaru, like Sawamura. And here's the thing, right? Sawamura is not bragging to his classmates about becoming the ace. That is the main thing. He has become quite humble in the fact that he's the ace. I think that the big thing is Sawamura respects Furuya so much, and Furuya is his friend and his rival, that because they're in the same class together, Sawamura doesn't talk about becoming the ace because he knows that Furuya's not the ace anymore and he's trying to be nice. And I'm like, I think that's the reason why. And plus, Sawamura's come so far from season 1 that now he's humbled and he's accepted the position that, yeah, I'm the ace, but he's not like needing to brag about it. And then you have Kanemaru, who's like, I want somebody to ask about my number. He's like, but I don't want to seem petty or conceited. And it's like, it's like, okay, yep. So from there, I love that Miyuki, like, Kanemaru is like, oh, look at this, look at Sawamura and all this. And he says that Sawamura fell asleep in his uniform, which that was adorable. And he was like looking behind trying to see the number. He's like, I can't see the ace number. And Furuya's like, I did that too. And it's like, you two are so similar. It's not even funny. And I love that Haruno likens him to like a Shiba Inu, which is like his animal representation, like chasing its tail. But he fell asleep in the ace's uniform, and Kuromochi and Asada, being typical trickster brother roommates, lifted up his shirt and drew number 1 on his back. And I love that Miyuki's like, leave him alone. He's like, leave him alone, guys. Don't hurt my boo. It's fine. So Furuya, he talks about how he wants to take the fact that he's the number 11 and he wants to apply himself. He wants to like prove that he's still a good pitcher and still worthy to be on the mound. But I think just like Ochiai said that Sawamura would grow in adversity, I think Furuya will do the same thing. I think that that's just how their rivalry works. They just go back and forth, right? I think that's just how it's going to be with them. So, and then Harumi was nice to Kanemaru. Harumi was like, hey, and like threw in the ball. I was like, oh my God, we've come so far. Like Kanemaru thought that Harumi would never like him, and here we are. It's so great. But Sawamura, he's just so worked up. He's got so much, the pressure's already like on him. He wants to do well. It's just, he has all these expectations, and we touch base on the journal that he reads, and Kateoka's like, I'm counting on you. And so that's even more pressure. So Furuya had a taste of it, and now Sawamura does too, right? But we get the idea from the players of Urasoga that their coach Sakaki is a monster of baseball. Like, he is just a man that has sold his soul to baseball. He's just much more digestible and kind than Nato. than Nito, that's it. But they beat the one team 13-2, which they've already got 2 runs on Seido in the first inning, so it's gonna be like a slug out, right? Old Urasogo. And they have Higashiyama is their ace. Higashiyama, and the one they call Fiery. So we haven't seen him pitch at all yet. So it's gonna be a fun time. But yeah, so Sawamura talking about Urasoga and Furuya. So Sawamura is gonna be the main pitcher against Urasoga, and Furuya is gonna pitch the 4th round. He's gonna be the starter pitcher for the round after that. And I love that all the paper cranes that the girls made came together to form the word bonds. That's such a representation of not only the team of Seido, but I feel like Sawamura and Furuya in these last couple of sets of episodes, their rivalry and bond as friends has been put on display, and I freaking love it. It's so good. But yeah, so Ochiai being like, gee, I hope nothing bad happens. I'm like, I just got in this season to where I liked you. Quit being a Debbie Downer. I was like, Ochiai, you didn't get your way. Now shut up and deal with it. I was like, quit jinxing the team, Ochiai. But yeah, but I love that during the phone call, we have Rio calling Haruichi, being like, hey, don't suck it up. You can do it. And then Zono, can you talk to June? I thought that was so sweet. That was wonderful. And then I loved, so here's the thing. Sawamura has been wanting to like pitch nonstop. Even when in the bullpen and stuff, they were telling him no. They're like, no, calm down. It'll be okay. And he was still just getting all worked up. It's such a contrast when we go to Furuya and he goes to practice batting with Yui. And Yui's like, well, do you want to pitch? And he's like, no, I'll do that tomorrow. He's like, I got to worry about this today. And it's like, oh, so not being the ace is going to give Furuya a chance to step back and go, and I think grow more as a player. And then Sawamura is going to get to experience the feeling of being an ace at the summer tournament with all this pressure. And it's going to be like one of those like baptism by fire moments where Katioka's like, okay, it's literally a baptism by fire. He's like, okay, Sawamura, you wanted to be the ace? Here you go. Here's the pressure of being the ace at the summer tournament with the third years that you are so close to at stake with their rest of their baseball career. You wanted it, here you go. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. And it's like, ugh! And so, yeah, of course, I like that this series is very realistic in how it treats this moment. And it doesn't, Sawamura just doesn't come on the mound and he's like, I'm the ace, now I'm OP and you can't touch me. No, he's got a whole nother set of pressure to worry about, right? And so Miyuki and Koshu, they notice that he's too tense. He even tries to put on the relaxed face, but it's like so forced, it's weird. And they tell him, and I'm glad Miyuki spoke up. I'm glad Miyuki communicated honestly. He's like, it's the pressure of the ace that's getting to you. He's like, you need to just, he lays down the law, right? And Sawamura's like, you're being awfully blunt. And Miyuki's like, I have to be with you. Because otherwise you don't take me seriously, right? And Miyuki's like, you didn't, and here's the thing. He says that at the beginning of a few months ago, he didn't see Sawamura as being the ace in the summer tournament. There's a part of me that's like, okay, I believe that. There's another part of me that's like, is he being serious? Is he lying? Because he said he'd lie to make any pitcher shine on the mound. I'm like, is he lying? Or did he not see him as the ace for this summer tournament, but saw him as the ace next year? So I don't know. I don't know what that means. But when he says, you continue to defy my expectations, it's like, yep. That's Sawamura's job, is to defy all expectations. And then, I'm sorry, but it was over for me the moment that we saw the little phone light up. And I thought for a second it was like Wakana texting Sawamura. It's like 1,000 times better. Sorry, Wakana. But this is like seeing Chris go, so you're the ace. That's a lot of responsibility, huh? I was like, oh my God, he knows! And you're like, who told him that he was the ace? I'm sure Miyuki told him. I'm sure Miyuki was like, you better text Sawamura. He's the ace now. It's like, oh, I just need a panel. I just need a panel of seeing Chris find out that Sawamura is the ace. If we see Chris show up at quarterfinals, if they make it to quarterfinals and we see Chris show up in like his beautiful like t-shirt and he's like all fine pressed pants and he looks gorgeous. Like, I just want to see Chris like have a flashback of looking at his phone and being like, oh, Sawamura's the ace, huh? And seeing like the smile, those little curls. It's all I need. It's all I need. I'm not asking for much. And so then we have episode 47. And episode 47, I was like, God, Terajima, you're not going to make things easy for us. Even though it's the end of the season almost. We're going to go out with a bang, right? Mm-hmm. But he says, under the feet. Yeah. Oof. It's like the mound's under the feet, but it's like all the pressure is too. And so Urasoga, I like that the pitcher for Urasoga, or the coach is like, he somehow got tapes of the games so he could analyze the two pitchers for Seido and see how their batters are. And I like the manager's like, how'd you get these tapes? And like, oh, I know people. It's like, yeah, this coach Sakaki's been around so long that, yeah, he knows, he has a lot of connections, so I'm sure it would be hard for him to get tapes of the game. But he saw both Furuya and Sawamura pitch. So I like that he says he's got gambler's blood. He's like, he likes to be bold and take chances. And I'm like, okay, I can see where Katioka maybe got a little bit of that from. But he says that he's like, it's great because that means if they changed players this quickly, there are weaknesses to exploit. He is a bloodthirsty man. He is like, cut the jugular. It's like Kunitomo doesn't vocalize. Kunitomo just cracks the neck and goes. This guy like vocalizes it. He is out to kill. Like, blood is in the water. And he thinks Fury is still weak. That might be interesting, right? If Sawamura, I don't want Sawamura to get taken out in this game. I want him to pitch through it, but I don't know. I don't want him to implode. So I almost wonder if he would bring Furuya in, and if Furuya did really good, then he could be like, oh, I was wrong. Furuya's actually okay. He's fine. So why do you replace him as the ace? And be confused about that, right? But we won't get that yet. So instead we get Inishiro's game. And then Mei just being the best of the generation. Like, Mei is the king. He's the king of pitchers. He's going to be the final boss. Mei is going to be the final boss of Act 2. I feel like if they make it, but no, I don't want him to be the final boss of Act 2 because I want them to make it to Koshin. So I want them to make it to Koshin. So he's not the final boss, but he's like the second to last boss, right? But yeah, the best of a generation, huh? I think they're going to face him in the finals, but it is going to be an uphill bloodbath to get there. And I'm like, Terajima, what are you doing? Why are you putting us on this roller coaster? Why? And all of you reading the manga are like, and I'm like, so yeah. Everyone on the team tries to help Sawamura, and Sawamura's frustrated. He's like, he thinks that he's seeming weak. He's like, no, all my teammates are trying to help me. But then he talks about Miyuki's praise, right? And Miyuki being like, you defy my expectations, and if you pitch, your pitches set me on edge. And Sawamura with that little blush face, he's like, it sets the captain on edge. Like, it's like, oh my God, you finally figured out that Miyuki gives you praise. Oh my God. But Chris being like, if y'all make it to the quarterfinals, I can come out and see the game. I'm like, you better make it to quarterfinals. I want y'all to see Chris. I want Chris to see Sawamura. I want Chris to walk up to Sawamura and for there to be this moment. That's all I want. Can I have that, please? Oh my God, I just, And I love in their phone that Sawamura's made his little picture, the little ace, little charm that he got with the baseball. That's his profile picture. And his profile picture of Chris is of him like with the catcher's gear on. I'm like, so freaking cute. I love it. But then, man, Big Brother Kuromochi, them getting on Sawamura for sleeping in the ace uniform, and he's like, if I sleep in it, it'll become one with me, and I'll feel more comfortable in it. So he's trying to like shake out the jitters by wearing it nonstop so that it doesn't freak him out, right? Now that he's made it so far. And I love that Kuromochi gets nerves, like 2 a.m. nerves, like the night before, because it hits Kuromochi. He's like, this is it. He's like, last year we were so focused on winning. He's like, I didn't realize it was Rio and them's last year. And he's like, now I'm in the same boat, and it's all hitting Kuromochi. And he's like, it's so relatable. If you've been on a team and you know it's like your last tournament, it's relatable, and it's like, it's so tragic. It's like, ugh. But Kuromochi being like, we're going to need you, Ace. Like, his faith in Sawamura, they're like brothers at this point. I'm convinced Kuromochi and Sawamura are like blood brothers. They're like the two brothers that they never had. I love that so much, but I love how much faith he has in Sawamura now. It's so cute. But yeah, here it comes when they're on the field and Sawamura's about to do the big old, like, get ready for the balls to come flying. Asada's like, here it comes. I'm like, hey, you're right, Asada. It's so great. And then Furuya, I love that one, Furuya's like, I wish I could have been in the left field to help out. And then I love that Furuya's thinking that. Furuya didn't say, I won on the mound. He said, I wanted to be in left field. Like, Furuya wasn't thinking about pitching in that moment. He was thinking about helping Sawamura and the team. Which is, like, such growth for Furuya. And I'm telling you, if he cheers on Furuya from the dugout and Sawamura hears him, I'm gonna freak out. It's just gonna be over. It's done. I can't. But not only that, but Sawamura being like, Furuya, I want to make it to the 4th round so you can start. Like, my heart, like, is about to burst. It's so full of love for these two boys and their friendship and their rivalry and how much it's grown. I freaking love it. It's great. And then in the midst of all this, Masashi goes, he always comes up with a speech. I was like, Masashi, you dunderhead. Oh my God, our boy is so airheaded. Masashi, I could just idiot sandwich him. I cannot. But you know what? I was on edge the whole time thinking that Sawamura was going to mess something up because it's his first. Sawamura has a track record. And the first time he ever goes out, he's always nervous. The first time. He's got to gain his foothold. But he gets overzealous and he overthrows. And it's just like this. It was a rocky rest of the episode. It was rocky. I was like, Terajima, why are you stamping on my heart after you've built it up all this time? Because Sawamura is nervous. Miyuki's trying to calm him down. And nothing's working because Sawamura needs like a blunt kick to the face, right? And it's Furuya. Furuya comes up there and he's like, you want me to come in? Like, it's Furuya does what nobody else can. It's that rivalry, right? And Furuya being like, I'll warm up. And everybody finally notices, we've been talking about it in the Discord and in the comments, but the only person Furuya calls by first name is Sawamura, is Eijun. He's the only one he calls by his first name. I love so much. That bond that Sawamura and Furuya have, that friendship, it cuts to the core of me. It's like, it's so good. I absolutely love it. And just to get him loosened up. And I love that even the manager is like, yes, 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 like, oosh, 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 right? And so, oh my gosh, I want Sawamura, like Sawamura and Miyuki get like that gremlin smile on their face, like they're such a troll battery, but I just want him to do well, and it's already 2-0, and Sakaki is fiendish. He was waiting for the pitch, and he knows how Katioka works because he helped raise Katioka, so it's like, oh my god. It's just, and then they are not a team to be taken lightly. No, not at all. God. Oh, I wish I had more to say. But I'm so hyped up, y'all. I'm so hyped up. I love that our Sunshine Boy is finally the ace, but his hardships, this is, as Miyuki says, this is just the beginning. His hardships have just started, right? His hardships have just started, and it's all uphill from here, right? I think personally that they're going to make it to finals against Inashiro, but it's going to be a long, hard road. I think that if we do anything, we've got episodes 48, 49, 50, 51. We got 5 episodes left. I think that maybe we'll get to the end of this first round. Maybe. And from there, if we make it past this first round in 5 episodes, which is totally reasonable, then we'll be able to start with Furuya pitching in the 4th round. But it's going to be an uphill battle. I was like, Terajima's like, see, Sawamura was doing real good and he got that ace position, but now there's a whole nother set of pressure and a whole nother set of challenges for our protagonist. And I'm like, I was just getting used to him doing so well. I feel like Zidler off of Moulin Rouge. Things were going so well. And he can turn it around. But I feel like Sawamura just needed to get the jitters out. I hope that he's gotten the jitters out. And I hope that he can do okay because, oh my god. I want our boys to win in advance. And I want Sawamura to do well. I don't want angsty Sawamura. And I don't want him to get yelled at by Katioka even though he just got the ace position. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm nervous. And I hate being nervous for this series. And of course it ends to where we won't find out. So next set of episodes is going to be episodes 48, 49, and 50 of Ace of the Diamond, Act 2. So I'm curious to know your thoughts. For all those of you wearing headphones, I'm sorry about your ears. I was freaking out. And now I'm going to calm down. I'm going to go rewatch episode 46 and fangirl some more. So maybe get on the Discord and talk to y'all about all this fun stuff. So in the meantime, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed this reaction and discussion, but I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll be back next week with episodes 48, 49, and 50 of Ace of the Diamond. Bye.